that's a black family that lives there. And I said, no, I don't think that it was a black man. And then when my husband got there, I stood out front, and we're still trying to get the Ring doorbell footage of me talking to my husband. But he asked me again, he said, what house was it? And I said, it was this house right here. And he goes, are you sure it wasn't a black guy? He goes, because that's a black family. And I said, no, I don't believe that it was a black man. And so we get in the car and we go to pick up the stroller. And I've said this a million times, I have never felt the fear that I had even just pulling up in front of the house when John opened the door to get out of the truck. The amount of, I've never went into like fight or flight like that before. And so he gets out of the car and he, goes up to the woman's house, and a woman comes out onto the front porch, and she says something along the lines like, did you forget something, or did you leave something? And John laughs, and he's like, yes, we did. I'm so sorry. And I get out of the car and I walk up to the woman, and I could not tell her fast enough what had happened. She walks out on the porch, and I jump out of the car, and I said, oh my gosh, yes, there was a man. And John was the one that said a man was following her, chasing her, following her is what I said. I used the word chasing, following me. And, so she said, I jumped out of the car and I said, I'm so sorry. I said, literally, I was pretending that your house was my house. I was walking up the driveway, and then I was like turning in. I was pretending that it was yours. And she goes, yeah, that was my husband. And so he ends up coming out, and he's like, I told you this was my house. And at that point, I literally I said, I'm so sorry. I said, I am so sorry. And I told him, I said, I'm so sorry. And then, I said, this is your house. That was my words. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, this is your house. I said, I truly kept thinking like, maybe this is his house. Maybe this is his house. And he says, well, I told you this was your house. And I said, you have to understand. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, it was such an awkward encounter. I said, the truck was like starting to slow behind me, and I'm out here with my little girl and my son. And I said, I'm a mom, and it was dark. And he said, but I told you that this was my house. He says, I was driving slow because I was looking at my Christmas lights. And I said, I am so sorry. And they truly, they did not take my apology. And that night, I went home. And so if you guys saw on Instagram, I shared the story twice. The only reason that I shared the story is because I was heartbroken, and it was a really scary night. I've always shared everything on Instagram. And so that night, after that whole instance happened, I literally was sitting on the steps, first of all, and John kept trying to talk to me. I kept telling him I was so sorry. And I've never, just the panic. I literally could not come down from this fight or flight. From the time that I was at the woman's house to literally 30 seconds later, telling the woman that I was just followed, to the man stepping out on the front porch and it being his house. It was like all of these different emotions. And so I'm sitting at home, literally having this meltdown. And I kept telling John I was so sorry. I felt really stupid. And, so on the way home, I forgot to say that the cop was driving around our neighborhood, and, I'm getting all these messages. I'm so sorry. Do you live here?
Yeah.
You do?
Papa.
I don't believe that.
What?
I don't believe that.
So what are you doing here?
Rory, come on. Rory, come on.
Hey.
Did someone come here?
That was my wife. Somebody chased her.
Who chased her?
She said somebody in the silver truck.
A gray truck, and he came around the corner, and I was in the street, and so I come up and I pick up my kids, and so I'm gonna pretend that I'm coming home, and so I pull up and I start walking to your back gate, and he stops here and he goes, "Are you looking for someone?" And I said, "Nope." And then he sat here, and I was like, I need to get in.
Well, that's my husband. That's why he lives here. Yeah. He lives here. So he came in and he said there's a lady screaming, and I'm like,
She got all worried that
I'm scared of the crap out of me.
How?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
how did he scare you though?
I just seen her in the driveway and I was like, are you looking for somebody?
Well, you just have to understand my point of view. Being by myself with 2 kids, I just saw a car coming, and so I was like, oh, it scared me, and so I just pulled up here, and I kept thinking, this could house. But you didn't say, this is my home. You just said, are you looking? And I was like,
I did. When you was on the porch, you asked me, did I live here? I said, yeah.
And you said, no, you don't.